Ace Bailey's taken another big step of improvement, and it's probably not where you anticipate. Next on Locked on Jazz.
You are Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
How are you? I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. This is Locked on Jazz. It's your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz, giving you insight, expertise, geeky numbers, and hopefully making it way better to be a Jazz fan each and every day. Thank you so much for making Locked on Jazz your first listen, and thank you so much for making Locked on the #1 sports podcast network. You're awesome. Greatly appreciate it. On today's show, we'll do our Trends Monday, and we'll look at the draft pick standings. It's a good week for that, by the way, for us. Isaiah Collier has jumped out, and the Jazz are using him perfectly. We'll discuss that a little bit. And Ace Bailey has made a large step for the Utah Jazz, and we'll touch on that. His improvement is just kind of astronomical every single day, and we'll touch on that. So that's all the plans today. Happy holidays to you. Glad to have you with us. Today's show is brought to you in part by FanDuel. It's when you want to be in the middle of the action this season with FanDuel.com. Place your NFL bets live all season long. All right, here's our plan for the week. I'll do a show today. I'll do a show on the 23rd, so that's tomorrow. I don't think I'm doing a show the 24th or 25th. I'll try to do a show the 26th. Might do a weekend edition 27th. Every day you might get something else extra. All right, so that's the plan. And a special hello to our newest member of the Everydayer Club, Cyrus McPherson. Glad to have you aboard. Hope you watched StatCast and enjoyed that. It was definitely a different broadcast, never anything like that. Kevin Pelton was so great to be there. We had all the big-time guests. It's still up on SCG Plus. It's actually kind of a rolling podcast, frankly, about stats. And so if you want to go watch it on SCG Plus or Jazz Plus in the analytic world, you probably can. I might try to put it into some pieces. All right. Ace Bailey just keeps getting better. And the obvious one would be the mid-range jumper or the quick release three or that soaring dunk. But the real story is Ace Bailey's getting better defensively. Going into the Orlando Magic game, Ace Bailey ranked 98th out of 100 in isolation defense. Now, to be totally honest, I think that's because he improved recently. I think at one point he was 100 out of 100. And that's not great. It's also not surprising. And if you go look at the worst isolation defenders in the league, every year, the bottom of the pack is young players who are in their first or second year. Like that's just the reality. Being an isolation defender is brutally hard. And the NBA is unforgiving. And so the fact that Ace Bailey was near the bottom of guys that have been caught with, I think I had it in 50 chances, is not surprising to me. And if you remember early in the year, he's reaching in, he's committing fouls, he's doing all this all the time. And what we've seen recently, there was a stretch, if you take the progression, he's getting all the fouls on the reach in. And then he actually starts playing with his hands like all the way out, and he just starts giving every single time. Every single time. It's just give. And now, if you watch him, he's actually playing defense. And he had Paolo Banchero the other night, who's frankly overrated in regards to efficiency, but is a 20-plus point a game scorer and massively big. And Orlando tried to isolate him and go after him almost every possession there in the fourth quarter, and he couldn't. They didn't stop. They didn't get anything. And they actually then switched to Key. And there is, by the way, Key is much, much better. But just in fairness, there is going to be a discussion about Key's defense coming up here at some point. The numbers are not good. Someone's going to see them, probably because I just said this. And then they're going to do a big piece on it, and they're not going to dig into the fact that the numbers with Kevin Love, on the fact that he plays in the first group with Kevin Love as the backup center is really the issue. His defensive numbers aren't great anyway, but the Kevin Love numbers are atrocious. So just when you see this story, out there, it has to do with the fact that the lineups he's playing with as much as anything. And Key does get caught in isolation a lot. Key, when people are running stuff at us, Key, I think, has had the third most amount of isolation defensive possessions of any player in the NBA. Wendell Carter Jr., who we saw the other day, Denny Advin and Keontae, Julius Randle, Luka Doncic, if I remember correctly, are the 5 guys who have seen the most isolation of any player in the NBA this year. So back to Ace. So we've seen this literal progression. Hands on everything, touching, grabbing, hands back, relenting, and now into defensive stance, learning how to move his feet, using his strengths, and making plays. And it's pretty great. In fact, the numbers show it. This is interesting. In the first, about 20 games, he was in isolation 30 times, according to Second Spectrum, which is now called Something Genius. He allowed 46 points in those 30 times, which got him to 1.5, which is why he was ranked the worst defender in the NBA. Zaire Williams is right now at 1.426. Shaden Sharp is 1.4. Anthony Black, 1.3. Emmanuel Quickley, 1.3. Alfred Şengün, 1.2. Interestingly, Cason Wallace, 1.2. This stat can get a little loud because if you guard the best guy, it's almost impossible to guard in isolation. But nonetheless, that's why. Those guys are all guys that play a lot of defense. Rudy Gobert is the third best. Alex Sarr is very good. Sion Jones, AJ Mitchell, and then actually interesting to his credit, because it's the opposite of what I just said, both Cooper Flagg and VJ Edgecombe have been terrific in isolation defense this year. I think they're both just very special. Ace Bailey, first 30 isolations, he allowed 46 points. In the next 18 isolations, he's allowed 18 points. 0.72. Literally cut it in half. If I wanted to just cherry pick numbers, 0.72 for the year, by the way, which is actually only his last team started isolating him. This is only like his last 4 or 5 games. 0.72 in that span, if it was same thing for the year, is exactly what Cooper Flagg is, so it's 7th best in the NBA. I'm not really looking at rank. I'm just trying to give you that perspective. The story is simple. In the first 22 games, he was allowing 1.5 points per isolation defense. In the last 4 games, teams have started to go after him because those numbers were real, and he's risen to the occasion. He's seen 18 isolations. He's only allowed 13 points. It's not perfect. I thought Desmond Bane had a drive on him the other day for a layup. Frankly, it wasn't called an isolation. I don't think these numbers are perfect in any way, shape, or form. But conceptually, with those the dramatic change in those numbers, I think tells you everything you need to know. So massive jump. We're seeing him coming off the curl early in the game. We're seeing a quick release corner 3 that he's clearly added. He did not shoot the ball that way at Rutgers. The pass he made to Kevin Love the other night on the backdoor cut late in the ball game, I think in the overtime, was astronomically good. It's all there. And now we're beginning to see his athleticism play on the defensive end. It's just a sign of development, and it's pretty awesome. The other one that's pretty awesome right now is the play of Isaiah Collier. And that is our next topic and how the Jazz are using him perfectly as we continue on Locked on Jazz. The Monday edition of Locked on Jazz is brought to you by Murdoch Chevy. Located in Woods Cross, also located in Logan. The Murdochs have been in Utah for over 90 years. Chevy truck is Americana. It's a great opportunity for you. And by the way, if you do it by the end of the year, there are some taxis, things you can play around with when you buy cars that load and carry and things of that nature. I'll let you go figure it out yourself. Ask your tax people about it. It's pretty great. Also, fun little thing at Murdoch Chevy, they do happy hour Monday through Fridays. $5 off your oil change, $20 off your happy hour services. That's happy hour specials at Murdoch, just having some fun with it. You can also winterize your vehicle if we ever see winter. And as I mentioned, Section 179 for businesses, where you can get that big tax break. That is all going on at Murdoch Chevy right now. You can get your work trucks. You can get your Equinox. You can get your Blazer, your Trailblazer. You can get your electric vehicles with the Silverado, the Equinox, the Blazer, all there for you. And you can get your SUVs starting off with the Tahoe, the Traverse, and the Suburban, and wrapping up with the Trax and the Trailblazer. It's all at Murdoch Chevy, located in Woods Cross, also located for you in Logan. If you want the VIP treatment you deserve by being a Locked On everydayer, email me at dlock09@gmail.com and we'll get you taken care of. Robinhood is the new gold standard for you. Robinhood.com, your money. Nobody knows your money goals better than you. Robinhood puts you in control of your money with tools that work as hard as you do. Locking it on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options and futures, and crypto, all in one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood's Legend advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You can expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Thanks so much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in the country. The Everydayer Club is out and here for you. What a great gift if you're looking for a last-second gift. 2 levels on the Everydayer Club. You can join the Everydayer Club. You get access to our exclusive Discord channel, where I am really hoping to make jazz talk friendly, fun. I posted the other day on Twitter an innocuous thing, and the first 5 things were just pure hate. I'm just like, get the out of here and let me get out of this thing. Like, that's literally what my reaction was. So I cannot wait to have all of my interaction be at Discord with our Everydayer Club, or with the Everydayer Club in the one-on-one texting to the All Access group, because I just want off this platform of hate. I don't even know if they're real people or not, but it's just, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I read it. It bothers me. Like, it's not like hate. It's just, Keontae sucks. Like, just go away. Just go away. So I want to talk to people who care. I want to talk to people that are into it. I can't wait. I want those people to get to talk to each other. So I'm hoping that we can build something really wonderful in the Discord channel. That's the Everydayer Club. You get the Discord, exclusive Discord. You get Locked On Sports Today, which is our daily sports show, exclusive audio edition, and you get ad-free. The All Access Club gets bonus episodes from me, as well as mostly from Leaf to Lean on college basketball and draft prospects, getting you ready for the draft. Gets you one-on-one texting interaction with me, gets all my prep notes before ball games. You'll get the Denver Nuggets, Utah Jazz breakdown here in just a few minutes. You also get 15% off the merch store and exclusive access to the merch store. Plus you get Discord. Plus you get Locked On Sports Today. Plus you get a daily newsletter in your inbox. That's all at the All Access Club. That's $15 a month, or you get 2 months off at $150 a year. Go to lockedonjazz.supercast.com. That's lockedonjazz.supercast.com to sign up for the Everydayer Club. All right, let's talk Isaiah Collier. I'm loving this story. First of all, I really like Isaiah as a kid. So let me just I like all of our guys, actually. There's not anyone. These kids are all great. And I really thought the comment by Will the other day that they're interested in being good and they're interested in, getting better was a really interesting, kind of obvious, but good comment. So halftime of the Memphis game, everything changes for Isaiah Collier. And I've got to talk to him today at shoot around and find out what happened, because I really have said this a bunch. He comes off the 8 games with a hamstring. He comes out. He has an 11-assist game against Indiana. You think it's rolling, and then he just got horizontal in everything was doing. And the first half of the Memphis game, I'm like, I don't think we're seeing him for a while. Ron and I both talked about it. Since then, in the last 3 games after that, he has now just been a force. I don't know that I think the numbers tell the story, but the numbers are pretty impressive. He's averaging 15 points and 10 assists a game, along with 3 rebounds, and he's shooting 50%. He has to shoot well because he's not shooting threes. He's also going to the free throw line 5 times a game. I mean, this is really special stuff by Isaiah here at 15 points, 10 assists a game, and he is just getting into the paint, wrecking havoc, and making plays. Now, he did have 3 turnovers in each of the last 2 games, but he also had I think he's averaging 10 assists a game. I can do it. So he's got 30 assists and 6 turnovers. That's fine. It's a 5-to-1 ratio. Excuse me. The kid is just wrecking havoc on teams. What's interesting is how the coaching staff is doing a great job of using him. So Isaiah Collier is not a great shooter. So his weakness is he is not a great shooter, which means that if you're going to use him offensively, you're better off. You can't really expect him to play pick and roll right now, because if you bring an extra defender to him, he's now playing a pick and roll game in which the big is probably dropping and they're going under, which really eliminates his ability to make much of any play. So in 292 picks this year, he's averaging 0.98 points per pick and roll. That's not terrible. Okay? Just to put it in perspective, there are of players who've taken 200, there's about 100 players who've taken 200 picks this year as a ball handler, and 0.98 puts him right kind of dead in the middle of the pack, 44th out of 100. So he's in the 55th percentile. It's not bad, but it's not his strength. And actually, it's getting better. To his credit, we'll talk about that in a second. He's beginning to kind of navigate that, and if he can figure that out, that's a pretty big step. Isolation. He's awesome. He is 1.35 points per isolation. Now, he's only done 30 of them this year, so let's not go get crazy about it. And of players that have had at least 20 isolations this year, trying to make the sample size, which is 200 of them, so you really are not sampling things down to a very low number, he's the 5th best of 200. Okay, like, that's a low number. Like Craig Porter Jr.'s there at 21, Marcus Smart. And if I go play around a little bit, by the way, and try to jack this so it makes Isaiah look better, and you use 25 as the number, or even 30 as the number, he's the number 2 isolation player in the NBA. Right? Now, he's only done it 32 times, so you're definitely picking the number here. But 30 isolations gives you 150 players, and he's number 2 in the NBA behind only Drew Holiday. He's really great in isolation. Scouting reports are going to get out. He goes left about 70% of the time, and we'll see whether or not teams suddenly react to this and figure that out. And he rejects the screen on the pick and roll a tremendous amount of time. And again, we'll wait and see whether or not teams figure this out. But in the meantime, we're watching Isaiah Collier find himself in his second year in the NBA, and then he's got areas where he's going to improve. But what we're seeing here in the last few days is a guy who's figured out, when are my opportunities? He went and found Wendell Carter Jr., who, as I talked about earlier, takes the most isolations. So you can tell I did a stat cast on this game, and went and got him. And he beat him a bunch of times. His rim finishing, that last rim finish over Anthony Black, that was pretty awesome. This 3-game stretch is really great. And I think that's the coolest thing. His rim finishing is the exact same as it was at last year. He'll have to figure out a little bit of a floater game. He's only taken a few of them this year, kind of in that range. He's a little better than he was last year. He has no, midi game. Fine. There are lots of pieces for him to improve upon. But he is finding right now the way for him to be successful. And he's taking 36% of his shots at the rim, which, because he doesn't have an outside game, is the right answer for him. And he's taking less threes, which is the right answer for him. And he's going to continue to figure this out. It's pretty great. And then the way the Jazz are using him, which is where Will is really why these guys play well for Will. Will is really remarkable at this. Let me figure out what you do well, and let me try to put you in that circumstance. Lowry Markkanen, you come off-ball screens really, really well. We'll put you in that circumstance. Isaiah Collier, I don't want to put you in pick and roll. That's not your strength. Keontae George, you're learning how to play pick and roll. Let's play pick and roll with you with Yusuf Nurkic more than we used to. So we're watching all of that development. The speed and the power and the transition and the pink touches that Isaiah Collier creates is great. What's interesting to me also, just in a scheme of watching him play, is he's bringing the ball up, which relieves the burden on Keontae, but he's actually a better second side player. And what I mean by that is if he can get into the action, get the ball to Keontae, and then let Keontae create the action, then the defense shifts, and then you hit Collier and he can beat the shift on a drive, then that's where he's at his best. And that might be where I never quite understand entirely what the difference between an isolation and a drive is, right? So on drives, he's averaging 1.13 points per drive, which is really good. Again, to try to put it in context, if you go grab, Denny Avila leads the league in drives like 500. So we're going to search down pretty far and get Isaiah involved because he missed the 8 games and he just hasn't had that many opportunities. And so Isaiah's driven it 160 times. If I go take 125, which then puts the sample search to about 120, Kobe White is the best in the NBA, if you're wondering. And Isaiah comes in at about 1.13, I think I said. 1.13, I think, which puts him at 16th, 16 out of 120. So in the 86th percentile. It's really good. Again, small number. And so we have to be a little careful and just watching how these numbers develop. And scouting reports are now going to come, and he goes left, and we're going to see if teams react to it. And then if he can go right, these are all the things that happen, and it's going to be awesome to watch. But right now, Isaiah Collier is in the elite of the NBA. If you take it, by the way, down to the top 100 guys with drives, Isaiah does qualify, and he comes out as out of the top 100, the 14th best drive guy in the NBA. These are elite numbers. They're a little suspect, but they tell you what a great job he's doing. Pretty awesome. So cool. Our 2 of our young guys, this is what the season's all about. And it's doing well. And you can breathe a little bit more deeply and softly, and well, because of the fact that weird teams won this week. We'll talk about it next as we continue today on Trends Monday. Where does the draft position sit now for the Utah Jazz? You can take a little bit of a deeper sigh, but still be really nervous. Next on Locked on Jazz. Thanks so much for tuning in to Locked on Jazz today, a Monday edition of the program. And today's show is brought to you in part by FanDuel. You want to get into the action, feel the excitement, feel all the energy? You can do that with FanDuel at FanDuel.com. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, suddenly everything feels different. And that's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds every day, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads, money lines adjust instantly, player props update as guys heat up, and you can bet the next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action, visit FanDuel.com and place your live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast. So can you. Tonight, the FanDuel Sportsbook has the Jazz as, I think, a 13-point dog in Denver last time I checked. Nuggets coming off getting shellacked by a hot shooting Rockets team. Might be a little sour. We also have the 49ers and the Colts Monday night game. Tonight, you can get into the action on, and we'll have a heavy NBA schedule, I think, each of the next 2 nights because most teams are off. Everyone's off the 24th, and most teams are off Christmas. The latest on the Jazz and the Nuggets. I just found the Christmas Day odds. The 13.5 is the number we're sitting at right now for tonight at FanDuel.com. Thanks so much for listening to Locked on Jazz and making your first listen of the day. All right, let's do our Trends Monday. We're going to start with the standings. That's where we start now. If you don't know already, the Utah Jazz, if they finish outside of the top 8 in draft pick potential, the pick goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. As of right now, here's what Basketball Reference is projecting for end of season. Washington will have the worst record with 18 wins. Indiana will be second with 22 wins. Sacramento will be third worst with 25 wins. New Orleans, who's gotten hot, at 27 wins. Brooklyn, number 5, at 29 wins. Utah at number 6 at 30 wins. Clippers at number 7 at 30.1 wins. That's close. Charlotte at 38 at 8th with 31 wins. That's close. Milwaukee at 33, and then Dallas 10th at 33. So, as I talked about last week, how we're getting below 5, I think, is going to be tricky. Brooklyn wins a lot there. We're basically on the same pace with Brooklyn. We're on the same place with the Clippers, who should start winning. They have no incentive to lose. Charlotte, who I think is trying to make a run for the play-in, and with Milwaukee injury to Giannis, they probably have a real chance to do that. Chicago's struggling. Hopefully that keeps Charlotte going in that direction. New Orleans has no incentive and has started to win some games. They've won 4 in a row. They are still 3 wins behind us, so we'll see. But we're sitting at 8th right now in a very precarious situation, and it still sits precariously there. Washington has won 3 of their last 7. Indiana's won 4 of their last 10. Sacramento has lost 8 of 10, though I think they won last night against Houston. Clippers have won 2 of their last 10. Brooklyn is 5-5 in the last 10. Charlotte's 5-5 in the last 10. The Jazz are 5-5 in the last 10. The one to keep a crazy eye on is Milwaukee is heading our direction. They've lost 7 of 10. Portland nicely won 3 in a row this week. Chicago nicely won 3 in a row this week. Memphis has won 7 of 10, so hopefully they're all heading in the other direction. As I said, it's going to be hard for us to get below 5. New Orleans and the Clippers could catch us. Charlotte should catch us. So that takes us 7-6 to 5 with 3 teams get over us. I don't think, and Brooklyn, I don't know that Brooklyn catches us, and it doesn't feel like Sacramento, Indiana, or Washington does. If we get to 5, we know we have our draft pick. We just don't have the greatest draft position of all time. All right, let's do the top last 10 games of everyone who's trending what. I always like this. I do it with you. I don't pre-prep this because I want kind of my own reaction. I think makes this a better experience for everyone, frankly, that we kind of look together who are the hottest teams. So the hottest teams in the last 10 games: Oklahoma City is 1, Houston is 2, Denver is 3, New York is 4, Detroit is 5. That is really holding. The surprise is Boston is 6. So that's really holding. Nothing super surprising there. Those are the best teams. The Knicks look like the best team in the East. I still think Denver wins the West. Not because of anything wrong with Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City's done everything I thought. I picked Denver to win at the beginning of the year. They've played a month without Aaron Gordon, a month without Christian Brown. I think if they're healthy, they're going to win that series in 7. They was 7 last year, and they're better now. Washington is the team that's to the point of the Jazz catching people. Washington is -13. Sacramento's -10. Indiana's -8. Feels like those 3 are on the wrong side of the equation for us. New Orleans is wait a sec. This actually didn't. You know what? No wonder that looks so weird. The last 10 didn't hold. Let's do that again. Sorry, that was wrong. I was like, this actually looks exactly like the season. Last 10 games. Oklahoma City is 1. Boston is 2. Surprising. New York is 3. Detroit is 4. San Antonio is 5, and Denver is 6. Houston 7. So that's no big surprise there, other than Boston's the hottest surprise team. The bottom 10 teams: Washington -13. Toronto's falling apart -9. Sacramento -9. Phoenix also -6. And Milwaukee, the team I said we got to be worried about with the Giannis injury, -6. And then they also could pull the plug at the trade deadline, and we're -6 as well. The top 10 offensive teams over the last 10 games: Denver, a 126 offensive rating. Their offense is incredible. This is also why I still pick them to win the West. Boston's also 126. New York, the Lakers, and Houston are the top 5 offensive teams. Houston's getting 40% of their offensive rebounds over the last 10 games. The teams that can't score right now: Toronto suddenly can't score at 106. Sacramento continues to not be able to score while talking about their defense. Washington, Phoenix, and the Clippers are the 5 teams that can't score. The best defensive team in the NBA over the last 10 games is the Oklahoma City Thunder, as it has been every single time all year. Brooklyn's gotten close. How about that? Brooklyn really defending. That's a huge surprise. Detroit, number 3. Philadelphia, number 4, without Embiid. And the Golden State Warriors at 5. Orlando at 6. Teams that are not defending. The Jazz have the worst defense in the NBA over the last 10 games. Then Washington, then the Lakers, then the Nuggets, then the Hawks. So the Jazz and the Nuggets, 2 teams not defending at all over the last 10 games, will match up against each other today. All right, let's take a look at the last 2 weeks. The number one team in the NBA over the last 2 weeks, so shorter trend, is the Detroit Pistons at plus 17, then San Antonio, then Oklahoma City, then New Orleans, and then Brooklyn. How about that? Denver is 6. Teams that are at the bottom, Atlanta has fallen on very hard times. Sacramento, Phoenix, Clippers, Indiana, and Cleveland. Last 2 weeks, we're right in the middle of the pack. Best offense in the NBA over the last 2 weeks, Chicago Bulls. Wow. New Orleans Pelicans. Utah Jazz. Wow. New York Knicks. San Antonio Spurs. So the last 4 games, we have the third best offense in the NBA. Who thought that was coming? Isaiah Collier's having an impact on that. Toronto. Teams can't score right now. Toronto, Phoenix, Indiana, Brooklyn, Sacramento, and Miami. Top offenses again. Chicago, New Orleans, Utah, New York, and San Antonio. How about Utah? Teams defending. Detroit's the best defensive team in the NBA the last 2 weeks. Then Brooklyn. Then Oklahoma City. Then a big drop to San Antonio and Minnesota, who might be finding their way. They said they actually should play Rudy. Teams that aren't defending. Atlanta, really not defending. Utah, Lakers, Cleveland, Chicago, and Orlando. That is your Trends Monday. How about that Utah Jazz offense? Love that. Thank you very much for tuning in to Locked On Jazz today. If you'd like to follow me on socials, I'm doing coffee walks on the road. I got my new Meta glasses. I'm doing all sorts of fun stuff on. Tomorrow we'll react to the Denver game, see what we have for you on the show. If you want to follow me on socials, it's DLock09. If you want to join our Everydayer group, please do. Would love to have you aboard. Really want to build this Discord group up into something fun. So go to lockedonjazz.supercast.com. Join us, the Everydayer Club, $5 a month. You get ad-free. You get Locked On Sports Today exclusive audio in your feed. You also get the access to the Discord Club. In the All Access Club, you get one-on-one texting with me. You get exclusive access to exclusive content from Leaf to Lean on the draft and draft prospects, and occasionally from me as well. I might try to record something with Matt Moore of Action Network about what he's seeing around the league today, because I think he's brilliant. I think he's like the best analyst around. Nobody talks about him. He's ours too, but he's totally brilliant. Side note, you also get a daily newsletter. You also get 15% off the merch store. That's all at lockedonjazz.com. That's Supercast. Give it to a Jazz fan for Christmas. It'd be absolutely perfect. What a fun gift to give someone so they can enjoy it all year long. In the meantime, we now send you the first ever 24/7 national NBA channel, Locked On NBA on YouTube. If you're on audio, grab Locked On NBA. Get game night, every game, every night.